Oh gosh, look at the crowd.
Come this way.
Those who spread goodness radiate happiness to everyone around them. Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
Welcome to LMDtv. I'm Ashwini Vethakan, and joining me on Talking Business this week is the CEO of the Colombo jewelry stores, Akram Cassim. Welcome to the show, Akram. It's good to have you with us.
Yeah, pleasure to be here and chat to you on the gem and jewelry industry and our history and heritage.
The gem and jewelry business was definitely affected by the pandemic, but to what extent was it affected?
Actually, the trade was totally affected in March 2020. Different segments have been affected. The gem and jewelry industry is actually the export industry plus the local retail tourist industry, and you get the retail local market as well. So the whole thing was shut because gems and jewelry, as you know, was something that you have to touch and feel, and all the exporters generally go for fairs all over the world. The fairs were shut. So that segment totally shut down. The tourists were not coming in, the tourist segment totally shut down. And the local retail was also totally affected because the country was in lockdown. But then I think every trade went through the same issues and we all had to fight back and get back up again.
What steps were taken to survive this period? In other words, what was Colombo Jewelry Store's game plan?
Main thing was to survive during that period. I mean, it was just to cut our expenses down, make sure the staff were okay, and obviously the government gave a good plan for staff pay revision during that shutdown period. So I think all of us used some of the features given and survived through that period. But then once the country started opening up, I think we got on well again, gradually building up confidence of customers to come into the stores.
The government has offered up to $1 million to the gem and jewelry industry to buy gold. What are your thoughts on this?
All the features they've offered have been good, but I think most of them haven't been implemented as yet. I think even the taxation, revision, gold duty removals, all that have been promised in, I think, far back as September or sometime last year, but still to be implemented, it's still been negotiated, and hopefully we'll see something soon on the 1st of April. That's what's been promised.
Further concessions were also provided. For example, the removal of taxes on income and also on gold imports. But do you believe that this was the right move at this point of time?
Yeah, it's a necessary move. I think taxation removal is a key to reviving this industry. This tax was never there. I was put in 2017 or 18, and it killed the trade. And then COVID came along and made it very much more difficult for us to recover.
How are we compared to the other gem export countries?
In my personal opinion, I think we are way behind. We are a fabulous country which has history and heritage in the gem and jewelry industry. Some of the best sapphires seen and worn around the world for the past 2,500 years have been from Sri Lanka. We have a history, a legacy, we have myths, we have legends, all relating to the gem and jewelry past of Sri Lanka. I mean, whether it's from King Solomon's stories or Sinbad the Sailor's adventures or Marco Polo, even Batuta, then we go up to all the royal crown jewels, all have Sri Lankan or Ceylon stones in them. Some of the oldest stones found in the world, the oldest heritage is from Sri Lanka, I think 270 BC. A ring was found in Afghanistan, and that was using a Ceylon sapphire, so that Ceylon pink sapphire, stuff like that, and very much more. If you go into the crown jewels of England, you go into the museums in Smithsonian, you go to the museums in Portugal, you check everything out. All the history is all about Ceylon sapphires. We were called Ratnadeepa, the island of gems. We also called the gem box of Asia. And all these names have been given not because we have a very, very good past. So I think we have a future if we do a lot of things in terms of deregulation and stuff to improve. The other countries, I mean, we should follow Hong Kong as an example, because they don't have any gems and jewelry, but they're the largest exporters of gems and jewelry in the world because of the low taxation, deregulation, and ease of doing business.
And on that note, we'll be going in for a short break.
Our story is one of reimagining. Reimagining who you can be. what you can achieve, and how CIMA can support you. As technology and digital platforms disrupt businesses, we are reimagining what the profession can be. We've updated our syllabus to meet the expectation of employers, ensuring CIMA qualified professionals have the skills to make an impact from day one. Reimagine your career. Contact CIMA Sri Lanka.
Welcome back to the show as we continue our conversation with the CEO of Colombo Jewellery Stores, Akram Cassim. Akram, in your opinion, what lessons can we learn from the other exporting countries?
Yeah, I think we need to deregularize the trade, make it simple, make it easy access for business. We have a very good collection of stones, we have a fabulous history, we have everything here, and we need to capitalize on this and have a long-term policy for the trade. We can't keep changing taxation, import duties on gold at 15%. It's not going to work. We have a huge industry which can benefit in Sri Lanka. We have a huge jewellery community, from the miners to the cutters, to jewellery craftsmen. All these industries are going to suffer. All these segments are going to suffer if you don't have a long-term policy, maybe 5-10 years of low taxation, simple procedures for exports. Even for things like internet sales, we need to have it very simple and easy to function, because that's the way forward.
There is a move to provide unutilized plantation lands for the purpose of mining. Do you believe that the island has much more to offer in terms of its natural resources?
We are a country that is totally blessed, whether it's for tourism or for gem and jewellery. The island is full of gems, but we need to carefully assess the environmental impact in mining as well as we have to do for all other things, because we need to preserve what we have inherited and what we have as a country. So we can't just go and mine and make it empty, bare land, which will cause a lot of impact like flooding and things like that can also come in. So after proper assessment, I think the land should be opened up to the segments involved.
Akram, what do you believe needs to be done to ensure that this industry comes back more vibrant than before?
I think a few key things need to be done fast. The first is removal of the taxes that have been imposed on the trade in 2018. This has to go first, I think. Then the duties on gold has to be reduced or removed. Then simple procedures on deregulation. Industry work for themselves without having a regulatory body. Regulatory body should be there to facilitate the trade, not to hinder any growth. Other thing I think it's easy for this trade to grow on is to tie up with the tourism sector. Sri Lanka, we have a past of 99 years, and we look back on the history of what we've done. We promoted the trade in the years, from the 1920s, 30s, all those years. We saw lots of stones making its way to the museums and places around the world. And tourism is a very important connection for the trade here. Because if you tie up with tourism, Sri Lanka Tourist Board should promote like they did in the 70s. Because earlier even the aerogram, they used like letters had gems on it. So gems, tea and elephants were what was promoted in the past. But we need to revive this and tie up with the Sri Lanka Tourist Board and get gem and jewellery segment going as a tourist thing. Because tourists come and spend $200 on a hotel, but they might spend $2,000 to $5,000 on buying gems and jewellery, which is actually a very significant area that we can capitalize on. Because it's unlike an export, it's an indirect export, but the money comes in immediately. There is no waiting for 2 months or 3 months or 6 months for the foreign currency to come in. We are having a foreign currency crisis at the moment, and I think this coupling up with tourism will be the fastest way to promote the gem industry. Basically, the Ceylon sapphire is what we need to promote. The Ceylon sapphire is the oldest known country for sapphires in the world. We still have some of the best sapphires mined here. So if you can promote that along with tourism, right along across the board, and with the EDB, embassies, we can take this sapphire to another level. But it requires a consistent plan for maybe 5 to 10 years. The industry is ready to help. All the associations will get together and guide the country to take it forward. But we need a a simple and constructive plan.
Having expressed what needs to be done, does Colombo Jewellery Stores have any plans in its pipeline to help our country's industry? Is there anything that you can share?
Actually now CJS is celebrating a 99th year this year, and we have been in the past, we've been a wholesaler of gems, and we moved on to retail. So now we are a watch and jewelry retailer actually. We don't do wholesale exports of gems at the moment. We have lots of plans on expanding the range we carry, especially with regard to sapphires. I think Ceylon Sapphire promotion, I'm ready to get on board as a brand and take this venture forward. I think we have a lot of potential in the years ahead. We are setting up a port city. If we get everything right, I think the Ceylon Sapphire has a very, very good future to bring in income to this country.
Well, that's all the time we have for this segment. Thank you for joining us this evening, Akram.
Okay, thank you.
Coming up, we have a roundup of local news. Stay tuned. Welcome back, and here's a roundup of local news. As of this week, the total number of COVID-19 infected patients in the island currently stands at 92,442, with the number of recoveries reaching 89,090, and the number of deaths now stands at 566. Co-founder and co-CEO of ESR Cayman, which is one of Asia Pacific's largest logistics property platforms and is based in Hong Kong, Stuart Gibson recently visited Sri Lanka to explore potential investment opportunities. Gibson and his senior management team held negotiations with the top guns in the Sri Lankan government, including the likes of the President, Prime Minister and several state ministers. The chairman of the Board of Investments and Airport and Aviation Services and other key representatives of state bodies. ESR is expected to evaluate opportunities to build modern, large-scale industrial and logistics parks in the country. The general manager of the State Pharmaceuticals Corporation of Sri Lanka revealed that the government would be incurring an additional cost of $9.4 per dose courtesy of the shift from the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine to the Russian Sputnik V vaccine. He stated that the Sputnik V is to be purchased at a rate of $9.95 a dose, while the price of an Oxford AstraZeneca dose stands at $5.25. The President recently unveiled the digital platform, an online platform that enables the public to submit proposals to formulate a sustainable education policy framework. The platform is poised to enable the government to gather feedback and suggestions from 4 main subsectors, namely preschool, primary and secondary, vocational and tertiary, and higher education. The State Minister of Production, Supply and Regulation of Pharmaceuticals recently said that the discussions regarding the purchase of vaccines from Pfizer-BioNTech have been successful, with an agreement to be reached soon. The vaccine needs to be stored at -70 degrees Celsius, a facility that the Sri Lankan government cannot currently accommodate. However, the manufacturer has offered to extend facilities to transport the vaccines to storage facilities under the required conditions, noting that the vaccine can be stored in normal refrigeration conditions for approximately a week. The State Minister stated that steps will be taken to import it in the near future. The Minister of Lands recently revealed that a new mobile service using modern technology will be launched throughout Sri Lanka to expedite and streamline land surveying. This service is expected to commence through a pilot project launched in the Tirupana area. The Trade Minister expressed his thoughts on the feasibility of promoting locally manufactured soya oil for cooking as an alternative to coconut oil. He pointed out that the excessive use of coconuts in cooking oil production would lead to a continuous rise in its market price, and it would be economically beneficial if the country shifts to an alternative, since it can be manufactured in Sri Lanka. The Minister of Energy reassured the public that Sri Lanka would not be facing a fuel shortage in the market due to the container ship blocking the Suez Canal. He further revealed that the country has sufficient fuel stocks for 2 weeks, and the next shipment is to come from the UAE through a route that does not require going through the Suez Canal. That's all we have for you this week. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for watching and stay safe.